Since the IP of Qixuan Generation Z was confirmed, we deliberately searched for the meaning of the word generation. From an academic point of view, generation is one of the core concepts in the conceptual system of youth studies, and generation analysis is a key perspective connecting the microscopic personal life course and the macroscopic social changes of the times. So, let us start with the young people in Generation Z to get to know each unique individual and their era. Here is the first story of Qixuan Generation Z. Zhang Qixuan, born in 1999, is a postgraduate student at the Intelligent Vision and Data Center of Shanghai Tech University, Chief Technology Officer of影眸Technology. Shadow Eye Technology focuses on 3D super-realistic digital human technology, and explores the promotion and application of cutting-edge artificial intelligence and computer vision technology in the mass entertainment market. The office of影眸Technology is in an office building not far from Shanghai Tech University. If he doesn't speak, Zhang Qixuan's appearance is very consistent with his actual age, a sunny boy who is less than 24 years old. But as soon as you sit down to communicate, whether it is the speed of speech, wording, or that determined demeanor, you will instantly switch from a graduate student to a well-trained chief technology officer. Zhang Qixuan, the first guest of Qixuan Generation Z. Chief Technology Officer of Shadow Eye Technology. Teenage hacker. Zhang Qixuan, who was born in 1999, is an out-and-out internet generation. In written language, Generation Z is the native generation who practice the digital link lifestyle. When translated, it means that as long as he can remember, the internet has been a part of his daily life. Like tens of thousands of children, Zhang Qixuan is also very obsessed with online games. According to the regulations of his parents, he is not allowed to play games from Monday to Friday. The battle of wits and courage is quietly staged. Different from most of his peers, Zhang Qixuan's cracking is not just by guessing, but by his own studying of computer knowledge, DOS entry, pre-installed Ghost, hidden administrator privileges, etc., are all his secret arms. Lele alone is not as good as Lele together. It is not enough to crack the password of his own house. He also cracked all the passwords of the neighbors' friends for them, so that everyone can play happily together. To this day, mentioning that naughty past, Zhang Qixuan firmly believes that the main reason why he had a strong interest in computers in junior high school and high school, and finally chose the computer direction in university, is the happiness brought by cracking codes when he was a teenager and his own happiness. Great enthusiasm for programming and researching security attack and defense technologies. Interview record. Z-Star Detective, after your parents find out that you have cracked the password, will they continue to upgrade and change the password? Zhang Qixuan, they never found out that I cracked the computer password at home. It was only after I helped the children in the neighborhood to crack it that they were discovered by their parents. Z-Scout, it means that your family still has a very relaxed atmosphere. Zhang Qixuan, our family is actually relatively open to some relatively new electronic products, so I have a computer for a long time, and I have been exposed to some Apple products for a long time. Although they don't let me play, I can see and touch them. Z-Scout, did you focus on studying later? Are you a top student? Zhang Qixuan, I am not strictly a scholar. The highest achievement in my life was during the senior high school entrance examination, when I got the 6th place in the city. At that time, I was thinking whether to go to Peking University or Tsinghua University in the future. But after entering high school, my grades declined. I think the main reason is that I spent a lot of energy on programming, making some interesting games, and then researching the technology of some security offensive and defensive projects. I really didn't spend enough time or energy in class. Too much. Z-Scout, then what about the results of the college entrance examination? Zhang Qixuan, I actually got offers from many universities through self-enrollment, but I chose Shanghai Tech University in the end. The main reason is that I was influenced and infected by the open day of Shanghai Tech University at that time. I think that a new school like this can actually bring a lot of unknown potential or uncertainty, which is actually what I might be interested in. An interesting life is like opening a blind box. Compared with labels such as multifaceted or contradiction, opening the blind box that belongs exclusively to Generation Z may better explain all the choices Zhang Qixuan has made along the way. Some people say that blind box is an adult fairy tale of Generation Z, and the uncertainty of the content of blind box makes Generation Z so fascinated. For Generation Z who pay more attention to flexibility and individuality in all aspects of work, life, and study, the life of opening a blind box is far better than following the trend at a glance. Although Zhang Qixuan's college entrance examination was the year when Shanghai Tech University sent away the first batch of graduates, in his eyes, this brand new campus satisfied all his imagination of the unknown, and perhaps this is the hidden money of the blind box. With infinite longing for surprises, Zhang Qixuan consulted an accomplished senior for more than 2 hours not long after entering the university. From talking about which activities he could participate in to which laboratories he could enter for internships, he finally found that he was very interested in the direction of graphics and computer vision, including deep learning. So, he began to slowly join the research group in charge of this direction at the school, and later participated in scientific research work, which also made an important contribution for him to become the company's chief technology officer in the future. Due to the epidemic, the 3+1 exchange course that was supposed to be conducted abroad has become an online course. This sudden change gave Zhang Qixuan a more unknown opportunity. Encouraged by his tutor, as a sophomore undergraduate, he and his partners began to try to establish a new company and commercialize the technology in the laboratory, and Yingmu Technology was born in this way. Since the official registration of the company in June 2020, the CEO born in 1997 and the CTO born in 1999 have led an all post-95 team to start a new exploration of the commercial application of 3D hyper-realistic digital humans. Perhaps the value orientation and behavior choices of the Z generation group, there are many risk-prone factors, so the accidental discoveries and unexpected surprises provided by the blind box greatly satisfy their expectations and obsession with uncertainty. However, during the entire communication process with Zhang Qixuan, what we saw was a determined and cautious chief technology officer. Perhaps in the eyes of Generation Z, the life of opening a blind box is not interesting because of the outcome of the gamble, but because it is happy because it follows the heart, chooses freely, and does its best without caring about the outcome. Interview record. Z Scout, did you ever waver at that time, saying that I would go to a big factory to have a look and learn? Zhang Qixuan, when I was just in my sophomore year, I wondered if I could try some directions that I hadn't been exposed to in the laboratory, such as audio, so at that time, I was also succeeded by a company that did a good job in this direction. The team was hired, and it is now successfully listed. But I discovered one thing at the time: I can work in the laboratory until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning every day without getting tired, but in that company, it gets off work at 6 o'clock. And I may be packed and ready at 5:59. I went to catch the subway, and I felt that maybe my mentality was really different. On the other hand, the degree of interest in the direction I am engaged in may vary, so I felt that I might not be a person suitable for working in a large factory. Z Scout, have you never thought about getting a master's degree or a PhD? Zhang Qixuan, I didn't study for a master's degree or PhD. Ages can happen. Z Scout, does the capital market recognize your post-95s team? Zhang Qixuan, most of what you got in the early stage were doubts, because when your technology has not been certified by academia on the one hand, and has not been certified by the industry on the other hand, all the technologies you talked about are empty. What I was most impressed with at the time was a US dollar fund. Our BP was not ready yet. He found us through the video of us cooperating with a Upmaster on Station B, and then he was very anxious to go to the meeting. In fact, we were fully prepared at the time. Insufficient, so in the end it was messed up, and the investment from their family was not obtained. But when I think about it now, if I got it at that time, the whole process would have been too smooth for us. Ask you why we believe you, and slowly he starts to listen to you. Z Scout, how many people are in your team now? Zhang Qixuan, counting all the employees there should be 44. Z Scout, are your employees also Generation Z? Zhang Qixuan, yes, the average age should be around 24 or 25. When we recruit people, we tend to be younger. What should I do if there are no more touchable stones? Generation Z has been seamlessly connected to the Internet information age since birth. They are greatly influenced by technological products such as digital information technology, instant messaging devices, and smart products. In the new era of artificial intelligence, they face unprecedented challenges. When asked by us, what is the biggest difference between Generation Z and their predecessors? Zhang Qixuan gave the answer without hesitation. The seniors often said that they had to cross the river by feeling the stones, because at that time the level of technological development in our country allows them to always have stones to touch. Today, Generation Z has no stones to touch in many fields. This generation has begun to enter technological no man's land. In the technical no man's land with navigation marks and no established path, no one will tell you what to do next, only you can rely on yourself. From another perspective, the post-70s and post-80s start their businesses mostly because they see where there are urgent problems to be solved, and where there are pain points. For the Z generation, there may indeed be some things that can only be seen after their own personal experience. The direction is that they choose their own entrepreneurial direction, not because they need someone to do this direction, so they start a business. Generation Z is so free and the future is so uncertain. When Zhang Qixuan was born and grew up, the country's material foundation was stronger, the economy was growing, and the overall national strength was increasing. In such an affluent age and social environment, they had much more choices and development space than their predecessors. However, in today's rapidly iterative and ever-changing new wave of technology, they are faced with one problem after another that no one can predict the results of. Zhang Qixuan told us something that left a deep impression on him. They have been working on digital humans and digital characters, but they may be obsessed with providing digital human services for movies and games. When one day he makes some basic combinations of his super realistic digital humans and VR to give when people have an immersive experience, the result is unimaginable. When he puts a digital human in VR, he pulls his mentor over and says, "You can take a look." The mentor said that the digital human has watched too much, so what's so interesting about it? But when he really puts on the VR helmet to watch when he was a digital human in the VR world, the tutor said that he was frightened and didn't even sleep well for 2 or 3 days. On the 3rd day, the tutor found the CEO of Yingmu Technology and said that you should write an article and talk about metacosmos and ethics. And these are the definite challenges that Zhang Qixuan of Generation Z will encounter, and a completely uncertain future. Zhang Qixuan's real-time hyper-realistic twin digital human. Interview record. Z Scout, compared with their predecessors, what new problems did Generation Z encounter? Zhang Qixuan, what impresses me deeply is that when I first entered the laboratory, when we first started this project, maybe in the first half year or the year before, our main work was to follow the work produced by some scholars before overseas, to do to the effect they can achieve to reproduce. Then in 2021, or at the end of 2020, we began to produce some original and relatively advanced work. New track. I think this process is just a microcosm of the difference between our generation of entrepreneurs and the previous generation of entrepreneurs. For us, the fight is really hard power, how advanced your technology itself is, how long the window period can bring you, can allow you to develop your products, and then use this to conquer customers. Z-Star Detective, do you feel anxious when exploring in no man's land? Zhang Qixuan, I will not be anxious, because the technology is open, and the barrier of the algorithm will never be a long-term barrier. Everyone's reference to the algorithm is actually an atmosphere in the entire community, because only yours and mine can make us make rapid progress. This is actually the most discussed topic in this wave of generative AI. Z-Detective, with the development of generative AI, including 8 large-scale models, these technologies will have some subversive impacts on various fields, including the fields of digital humans and sapiens. Many people say that after the AI draws out, then I can use Midjourney to generate a virtual image based on some tags. Why do I need the services of a professional digital human company like Yingmu? Zhang Qixuan, this is exactly what we want to do. On the one hand, we are now providing digital human technical services to some highly customized customers. On the other hand, the direction of our research and development is the generation of digital human. As you said, after Midjourney generates a digital image, it is going to use this digital image. What we do is to turn this digital image into a 3D asset that you can use. The current production cost of digital humans is still too high. Through generative AI and 3D generative means, the cost in this area can be reduced, and further combined with some mature Vincent diagram tools before it can be truly incorporated into in the current production process. This is actually what we want to do. After the interview with Zhang Qixuan, our biggest feeling is that it is difficult to give an accurate definition of Generation Z. They are casual and determined, willing to take risks but not only about results, very self-centered and full of feelings for using technology to serve all mankind. Every generation will create its own cultural labels because of their unique living environment, age of growth, and life experience. So at least for now, for Zhang Qixuan and others, being undefined may be the best definition.